So guys, welcome to my first Walking Dead video on this channel. So I thought to start with, why not talk about where it all started? Season 1, Episode 1, Days Gone By. The IMDb rating for this episode is 9.2, which is obviously a powerful first episode to start the series with. Clearly, this is why we all kept watching the show, because it was fantastic. So, for characters. The characters in Episode 1 were fantastic. We learn a bit about Shane and Rick's dynamics as friends, which we will later see how their friendship changes and morphs. Rick is fantastic. He is very scared and confused, but also feels powerless as he can't find Laurie or Cole, but has hope that he will find them, which I also really like because it further emphasises that Rick is a cop and that he is investigative and rational, and therefore does fill us with confidence. When Rick becomes the leader, Morgan and Dwayne are amazing. Their story is extremely upsetting, and you can tell that they want to stick together and look after each other. Seeing Morgan at the end of the episode trying to shoot his wife, though showing that he can't, is really heartbreaking. To show such emotion in the first episode of a zombie show. The acting in this episode as well, Andrew Lincoln and Lenny James, the performances are phenomenal, and it just feels so good watching them. You don't feel uncomfortable, you absolutely buy into everything that goes on, which just makes the episode even more enjoyable. Pacing, episode 1 is definitely a slower paced episode, but this works well because this is the first time we see walkers, so it makes sense the show takes more time to build up the basic walker rules and show how people, e.g. Morgan and Dwayne, deal with this new world through Rick's perspective. With time also becoming less of a social construct, the slower pace really does feel more like how someone would feel at the start of the apocalypse. The story, so the synopsis for the episode, is that, on IMDb the synopsis is that Deputy Sheriff Rick Grimes awakens from a coma and searches for his family in a world ravaged by the undead. The story of episode 1 is great. A main theme I feel is family. Rick is searching for his family, travelling to his old house straight away, before he then meets Morgan and his son, and we see their story trying to cope with the loss of a wife and a mother. This being in the first episode is very important, even at the beginning, and shows that family is very important, and the theme is played throughout the show. And it's really interesting for a zombie show to not be it is, like, zombie shows can be focused on violence and tragedy, but to see that they also make sure that straight away we know that it's not just about that, and it is also about connections and romance. It's a bit like slasher horror films. They're all about violence and blood and gore, but you can get the occasional slasher that does really pin down on emotions. And I understand that in that term, is it as much a slasher because it does that? I guess a good example is Halloween 2018. That is a slasher that definitely has emotions and like family moments and all that stuff, whereas Halloween Kills is less of that and is literally just more of a slasher. And I think The Walking Dead straight away says, now we're going to be violent and make it clear that it's a zombie show, but we're going to make it clear from the start that there's bonds and everything like that. Because it's the first episode, you know, you'd like to think that it's very important that some of the things on key themes that they are showing are consistent throughout, and family is one of them. And don't get me wrong, there are episodes of horror in The Walking Dead, there are episodes of absolute just walkers, but it is nice to see a slight mix, probably even leaning more towards family in the first season, but don't get me wrong, there's a lot of walkers. It is a zombie show. So, in conclusion, Season 1, Episode 1 was an amazing first episode, slowly showing how the new world looks and functions. We meet phenomenal characters with potential and get straight into the action. I'd give this episode anywhere between an 8 to 9 out of 10 because it really just is fantastic. Thank you for watching my review on Days Gone By, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.